This video may contain adult language and situations. Viewer discretion is advised. Hey everyone, it's Uncle Mark, and I'm back again with another video list. Now, I bet you didn't know that Buffalo is the home of the world's largest disco. No, we're not 50 years behind the times. This is actually a yearly event held at the end of every November, outside of COVID, and it's held for a charity called Camp Good Days and Special Times. And it gets a few thousand people to come down to the Buffalo Convention Center to boogie down with their platform soles, bell-bottoms, gold lame tops, headbands, and let's not forget the feathered hair parted down the middle and porn stashes. It is Movember after all. Now, this event also brings back celebs of the 70s that you may remember, such as Fake Jan, Potsy, Moira Rose's co-star from Not Without My Cousin, and your bartender Isaac. The convention center where it's held was opened in 1978 with a concert by Donna Summer, which furthers its disco credentials. Now, when I was a teen, the big disco here was Club 747, which was designed to look like the interior of a jumbo jet. The only time I ever went there was on a blind date for a teen dance with the daughter of one of my mom's coworkers. Just picture the two of us. A large African-American girl and a skinny, closeted Polish-American white boy. Think Amber Riley and Chris Colfer from Glee. Except I'm not as cute. But that club visit cemented my love of disco, and no matter what form it may take, from high energy to house to EDM, it still makes me want to move. So for today, I am going to go over 10 of my favorite disco songs which all reached the top 100 on Billboard but never made the top 40. Some of them just missed, but some of them never even got that close. The order for my list is based on the year of release, so it's not a top 10, although my 10th song could actually be my number one choice. But all these songs are disco classics, and they should be on your turntable, or iPod, or Spotify, whatever you use. And I would recommend listening to the extended versions of these songs instead of the radio edits to get the full effects of each song. Now, if you have a favorite that never made the top 40 or even the top 100, leave a comment and I might use it in a future video. Don't forget to hit the like button, ring the bell for future videos, and please subscribe. And now let's boogie on down with 10 funky disco songs that should have hit the top 40. Two queens stand before me. The time has come for you to lip sync for your life. Good luck, and don't fuck it up. They fucked up. I mean, talk about your double sachet. So why am I showing a clip of Milli Vanilli? Well, it turns out the man who created them also created another act before them who also had an issue with lip syncing. But at least two of the group actually did sing.
She was the meanest cat in our Chicago town. She was the meanest cat. She really mowed them down.
Boney M was created by Frank Farian, first as a pseudonym for his own vocals on a 1974 song called Baby Do You Wanna Bump. When that became a hit in the Netherlands, he decided to create a group and hired Maisie Williams and Bobby Farrell, aka the Rob and Fab of the group, for their looks, and Marcia Barrett and Liz Mitchell for their vocals. The male vocals on all their hits were Frank's, which Bobby lip-synced through during his energetic performances. Ma Baker is an early song and also the lowest charting song on my list, at least in the United States. It hit number 1 in 7 European countries and number 2 in the UK. Frank's assistant found a Tunisian song called Sidi Mansour and wrote new lyrics with a fictitious retelling of the legend of Ma Barker. Now, I really enjoy the lyrics and the staccato synthesizer and the back and forth vocals from male to female. It combines the story song, which was very popular in the 70s, with a Caribbean disco beat that made it sound fresh. Boney M would manage to get one top 40 song in the US with the religious-themed Rivers of Babylon, though they stayed huge in Europe with Daddy Cool, Rasputin, and the Christmas classic Mary's Boy Child. And although this didn't become a huge hit in the US then, at least one portion of it would eventually hit number 1. From the lowest hitting song, we now have the highest peaking one, reaching number 41. And although it didn't make my list of the top 10 songs to peak at number 41, which you can watch by clicking on the above link, I knew I had to include it here.
He's got the potion and the motion. When I'm feeling low, when my love starts to flow.
This one is by a trio called First Choice from Philadelphia. Now, they were also a one-hit wonder on the top 40 with a song called Armed and Extremely Dangerous back in 1973, but they would still make the top 100 with songs like Smarty Pants and Newsy Neighbors, and eventually they'd become dance chart standards with songs like Hold Your Horses and Let No Man Put Asunder. This was their last song to make the pop top 100. The lyrics are fun with a play on sex being healthier than vitamin C or an apple every day.
There's no need for me to eat an apple every day. Oh, he's all I ever need to take any pain away.
But what gets me going is this chorus, which switches from mostly major and sharp chords in the verses to minors in the chorus.
Take any pain away. Dr. Love, he can cure my every pain. He can make me well again. Dr. Love.
I can't say why, but for me that change just turns the song from happy to sexy. And that section has been sampled in numerous songs. Now I have to wonder if it didn't become a bigger hit because it was mixed up with another song that came out that year with a similar title.
They call me Dr. Love. Yeah, they call me Dr. Love. I got me through your baby.
Yeah, no one would ever mix up Kiss with disco. Oh wait.
I was made for loving you, baby. You were made for loving me. And I can't get enough of you, baby. Can you get enough of me?
Now what does Daft Punk have in common with my next group? The Gibson Brothers were brothers, but their real last names were Frankfurt. They were French, born on the island of Martinique, and had been parts of the groups The Phalansters and Martinique Express. They were discovered by producer Daniel Vanguard, who changed their name to the Gibson Brothers and produced their first record in 1976. They were signed by TK Records in 1977, and the next year saw their only hit on the top 100 in the US with Cuba. The song is non-stop Latin energy from the first guitar riff to the awesome pounding piano. The blaring horns and those intense vocals from Chris, Patrick, and Alex.
Dance to the music like nobody does. The first time I saw you, I knew it was love. You're the one I want. You're the one. Yes, you are.
It dares you not to move, and it's nearly impossible to resist. And what do they have in common? Well, the producer, Daniel Vanguard's real name is Daniel Bangalter, and he is the father of Thomas Bangalter, one half of Daft Punk. Nice to see disco traditions live on. Would you expect one of the biggest disco hits to be a remake of a Broadway show tune performed by someone who actually appeared in the movie version of the musical? And they weren't even the star. If her friends could see her now. Linda Clifford was uncredited in the film version of Sweet Charity, and when she was offered the disco version of this song, she thought it was sacrilege, until she heard it, liked it, and recorded it. And it's a good thing she did, as it became her biggest disco hit, staying at number 1 on the disco charts for 5 weeks. This is pure high-energy, wailing diva perfection. I'm sure I'm not the only one who at first mistook her for Donna Summer, considering their similar vocals and background in theater, which trained them to sing to the back rows. knew who the backup singers were because their contribution can't be ignored. They are just as integral to the song and as good as Linda. It actually wasn't her biggest hit on the Hot 100, as she had a disco version of Bridge Over Troubled Water, which also peaked at number 41, the same as Dr. Love. I've already talked about number 41 videos. Do I have to remind you to click on that link? Go ahead. I think after that we could use a moment to chill. Wouldn't you agree?
My forbidden lover, I don't want no other.
My Forbidden Lover was the follow-up to Good Times, one of the greatest disco songs ever, and the sample that gave us the first top 40 rap hit with Rapper's Delight. Now, Chic had been known for their floor burners, including Dance Dance Dance, Yowza Yowza Yowza, and La Freak. But with the release of the album Risque, Chic wanted to showcase smooth, silky grooves along with their classic harmony. Critics have praised it as one of the best albums of the 70s, not just as a disco album. Nile Rodgers and the late Bernard Edwards' distinctive sound can be heard on such classics as We Are Family, I'm Coming Out, and Get Lucky, speaking of Daft Punk.
And I want to see you there when I leave. Yes, indeed, you are my forbidden lover.
Chic has been nominated numerous times for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but is yet to be included. And one listen to this gem, and you can't convince me why they shouldn't be among the greats. It is sexy, slinky, and the perfect song to slow down and mellow with. Take a breather, and let this groove just flow through you.
My love is forbidden. We keep on the hidden. My love is forbidden. We keep on the hidden.
I'm a hockey fan, and earlier in 2022, we lost one of the greatest hockey players ever, Guy Lafleur. But as great as his accomplishments were on the ice, I would consider his disco album not one of them.
Once you have mastered a good shot, you must learn when to use it. It's important when you practice your shots to always shoot towards the target. Control of any shot comes from a closed or open blade. To keep the shot low, close the blade. And to shoot it high, all you have to do is open the blade.
So why am I talking about this? Well, it's really his collaborator we're talking about now, a man named Gino Soccio, and a song with a title that says it all. Gino scored an earlier dance hit with War Dance by the group Quebec Electric. While that song is electronic to the nth degree, this one has a bass line that is so intense that it wants to push you out onto the dance floor and get down. I love so many touches during the song, including the echo effects on the vocals. The subtle but effective piano work, the chill section that comes after the 5th minute, and those blooping electronic sounds that float throughout the song. Even though this did reach number 1 on the disco charts, I feel that this is one of the most underrated dance songs ever, and I feel it is a must for every disco playlist. In 1979, disco was facing a backlash. Some felt the music was repetitive and mechanical. Others felt it was all about flash and good looks. And others were unhappy that established rockers were putting out disco songs as though they were selling out. But when the most infamous anti-disco incident occurred, the Disco Demolition Night, it was obvious there was a bit of racism and homophobia behind it. And I get the feeling that a lot of the records being destroyed that evening were recorded by these guys.
Together, we will go our way. Together, we will lead someday.
Now make no mistakes, the Village People may have been winking and nodding, and there were straights in the group, most notably lead singer Victor Willis, but there'd never been a gay act so manly before. It was a new form of camp, one that celebrated over-the-top masculinity instead of sissy-ish femininity. Biggest hits Macho Man, YMCA, and In the Navy all worked in this fashion with their double entendres and high male energy. Go West, on the other hand, was kinda radical. Even though there's no mention of any genders during the song, male or female, knowing their history, this could be considered a gay love song. And maybe that's why it wasn't as big a hit. In a strange way at that time, people were more okay with the hinting of gay sex instead of the blatant expression of gay love. It's still a great disco song, complete with all the horns and hand clapping you'd come to know from them, but the lyrics are more thoughtful than you'd expect, contemplating a life of openness and togetherness with the one person you want to live your life with, even if that person is of the same sex.
I love you. I know you love me. I want you happy and carefree. So that's why I have no protest when you say you want to go away.
In my opinion, I don't think audiences were ready. And the next year, when the Village People said they were ready for the 80s, they weren't ready either. Haven't you heard disco was dead by 1980? Haven't you heard?
Have you heard that there's an ad listed in the classifieds?
Patrice Rushen is more well known for her one top 40 hit Forget-Me-Nots, which was famously sampled by Will Slappy Smith for the Men in Black theme. But this one almost reached the top 40, peaking at number 42. Her jazz chops are evident during the bridge in the extended version, and considering she'd been recording jazz records since she was 19, she knew her stuff. But she decided to branch out to R&B and changed record companies at 23 to do so. She got a lot of backlash from the jazz world, with her harshest critics calling her a traitor. But the album the song came from still reached number 2 on the jazz album charts and number 39 on the pop album charts, her biggest album at that point. The song itself is a cheerful tune about wanting to meet the perfect guy. The strings and the piano work so well together, and I love that 2-note punctuation that sounds like a doorbell. It's bright and delightful, and it puts a spring in my step. I just gotta be careful about my feet, you know. I'm at that age now. Next classic is possibly the first successful song to combine rap and singing, even before Blondie's Rapture. It hit number 1 on the R&B charts and would later be sampled by the late great Coolio for his first hit. So let's slide, slide, slippity slide into this.
Hey, come on, take a ride. There's a party over there that ain't no job. It's live, it's all the way live. Don't even have to walk, don't even have to drive. Just slide, slippity slide. Just forget about the troubles in your 9 to 5 and just sail on. That's what you do, just sail on.
Lakeside was a very successful group on the R&B charts, hitting that top 40 regularly from 1978 to 1987. However, Fantastic Voyage would be their only hit on the Pop Top 100, peaking at number 55. The rap that begins the song is effortless and smooth, and it's a perfect earworm. The bass line is infectious, and the lyrics make no bones about offering you musical pleasure on their trip. It may be more funk-based than most of the songs on my list, sounding more along the lines of, say, Heatwave and LTD, but it's managed to stay in musical consciousness since its release, even appearing in an Allstate commercial in 2021. Not many other songs on this list can make that claim. Get it? Insurance claim?
Do you wanna go to the land of funk? Funk,
Well, we're at our last song, and I believe we saved the best for last. Shout out to Vanessa Williams. Even though it's a few years past disco's peak, there is no doubt that this is one of the greatest disco songs ever, sung by a pair of big-voiced divas who backed up the legendary Sylvester as 2 tons of fun. And with the help of the man who would become David Letterman's band leader, and a name change to fit the theme of the song, we were graced with what I consider the gay national anthem. And it's Homer Simpson's favorite song.
And I'm pulling your favorite song out of the jukebox.
It's raining, man!
Yeah, not no more, it ain't.
Ow.
Hi, we're your weather girl. And have we got news for you? You better listen. Get ready, all your lonely girls, and leave those umbrellas at home, all right?
Now, the song was originally written before disco's demise back in 1979 by Paul Jabara and Paul Schaefer, and was shopped to Donna Summer first, then to Diana Ross, Barbra Streisand, and Cher, but they all turned it down. The song was offered to 2 Tons in 1982, but they also turned it down thinking it sounded too crazy, but eventually they were convinced to record it. It reached number 1 on the dance charts at the end of the year and stayed there for 2 weeks, and it even reached number 2 in the UK. It quickly became a staple for both gay and straight communities, gays for pride and straights for male stripper shows. Now, they weren't able to capitalize on the song's success and broke up around 1988. Martha Wash's voice would later be heard on such 90s classics as Strike It Up,
Strike it up, this band is gonna play my tune.
Everybody, Everybody,
You won't belong to me, I let you down.
and Gonna Make You Sweat. Sadly, Izora Armstead died in 2004. Now, this song has the right mix of both camp and serious musical chops the way Village People's songs would. And for me, that's when disco would be at its best, taking itself seriously as music, but with a cheeky grin knowing it's all good fun. And I hope you had some fun watching this video because I sure had fun coming up with this list. Now, if you enjoyed any or all of the songs that I listed, look for them on YouTube or your favorite streaming source. I will be making more of these lists in the future for songs that didn't reach the top 40 or even the top 100. For example, if you want to check out my top 10 new wave songs that should have hit the top 40, click on the link above. I will have more lists of new wave and disco along with classic rock, country, Canadian artists. If you have an idea for a list or genre, let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button. Don't forget to ring the bell for future notifications, and please subscribe to my channel. I am Guncle Mark. Thank you again for watching.